Have you ever felt it? The relentless ticking. The endless cycle of dawn, work, dusk, and sleep. The clock, once a tool, now governs your waking thoughts and exhausted dreams. What if the 40 hours you trade each week is a cage? The chains of the past recast as a wristwatch and a time card. We live in a clockwork society, every tick a reminder of our servitude. Every soul is born with a clock of destiny. It is the only true wealth you will ever possess. The architects of our world knew that to control people, you only need to control their time. The 40-hour workweek is a leash, giving the illusion of freedom while keeping you tethered. You work until you are old, then retire with a pittance, your clock of destiny spent. In this exposé, we reveal how your time became their ultimate instrument of power. The story of your cage begins not in a dungeon, but in the mind of Robert Owen, a visionary Welshman. As the Industrial Revolution shrouded Britain in soot, Owen proposed a radical solution. 8 hours labor, 8 hours recreation, 8 hours rest. But behind his public reforms was a secret. Owen was a high-ranking Freemason, drawing from Masonic blueprints to structure society. The goal was not freedom, but to perfect the worker, turning people into efficient cogs for the industrial machine. The promise of balance became a gilded cage, making us believe our chains were a gift. Henry Ford, the so-called industrial messiah, emerged from America's smoke and steel. He perfected the system of human management, not as charity, but as a tool for profit. Ford's moving assembly line bound workers to a relentless rhythm, golden handcuffs disguised as progress. He didn't just build cars, he built the modern consumer worker, trapped in a perfect loop of labor and consumption. Ford's 40-hour workweek was sold as a gift of leisure, but it locked workers into a predictable, controlled cycle. The system promised fairness, yet kept people chasing paychecks, trapped in work, spend, and debt. The 40-hour week became law, cementing a clockwork society, modern, efficient, and inescapable. The minimum wage is not a gift. It's a calculated floor, ensuring you survive but never thrive. It was never meant to provide comfort, only to set the lowest price for your time. Sold as protection, it actually cements a permanent underclass, standardizing labor costs for the elite. The 40-hour week and stagnant wages guarantee struggle, not security. Essentials like housing and healthcare rise in cost, while your wage stagnates. You work harder just to stay afloat, not to get ahead. The wage is bait, not reward. A tool to manage poverty, not eliminate it. The illusion is that your time has a fair price, but it's a transaction rigged from the start. The system ensures wealth flows upward, while you chase a horizon that always recedes. Your labor is commodified, your potential sold off, all under the guise of fairness. Once wages tethered the worker, debt sealed the chains. The American dream became a cycle of loans, mortgages, car payments, student debt. Consumerism was weaponized, turning wants into needs and freedom into financial obligation. Housing and education costs soared, trapping generations in debt from the start. Every purchase, every loan, is another shackle. Debt silences dissent and keeps you returning to jobs you despise. You work not for your future, but to pay for your past. The system polices itself through your bank statements and loan agreements. Financial freedom is dangled as bait, but the trap is permanent. Debt is the engine of control, ensuring you never break free. The 40-hour workweek is designed to create a time famine, starving you of life's most precious resource. Your best hours are claimed by work, leaving only scraps for yourself. Exhaustion replaces creativity. Survival tasks consume your evenings. Entertainment becomes sedation, not enrichment. A tired population is a docile one, too drained to question or rebel. The treadmill of deadlines and bills narrows your focus to the immediate. Revolution and self-discovery require time, exactly what the system denies you. Your potential withers, sacrificed for productivity. The masters want predictability, not self-actualization. By controlling your time, they control your dreams. The time famine is an attack on your humanity. You are left with unfulfilled potential, your spirit quietly drained. The most secure prison is built from ideas, not iron. From childhood, we're conditioned to accept wage slavery as natural and desirable. Schools train obedience, punctuality, and conformity, preparing us for the cubicle, not creativity. Worth is measured by external validation, not inner growth. The myth of meritocracy justifies inequality and blames the victim. The grind is glorified. Questioning it is shamed. We internalize our servitude, defending the very system that exploits us. The result, a self-regulating prison, where inmates become their own guards. Control is disguised as freedom, and the clock ticks on. The hidden agenda is complete. Servitude normalized, resistance neutralized. The plantation persists, rebranded as the modern workplace. Wages are the new chains, binding you to survival, not prosperity. The whip is gone, replaced by HR policies and the threat of termination. Freedom to leave is an illusion when debt and rent keep you tethered. Middle managers enforce productivity, tracking every move. The corporate ladder is a mirage, fostering competition and division. You are a disposable asset, responsible for your own welfare. When you're no longer profitable, you're discarded. Your productive years are consumed, your value measured only by compliance. The assembly line of servitude starts in school, not the workplace. Children are trained for obedience, conformity, and external validation. Creativity is suppressed. Individuality is a liability. Education mirrors the factory, compartmentalized, standardized, and rigid. Students are molded into predictable cogs, not creators. By graduation, the idea of life beyond 9 to 5 is alien. Ambition is redirected from forging new paths to climbing someone else's ladder. The schoolhouse becomes a pipeline to the corporate plantation. Minds are shackled before diplomas are earned. The prison is mental, ensuring the clockwork society endures, generation after generation. In this system, missing a day of work is rebellion, punished not with a lash, but with warnings, docked pay, and marks on your record. These modern tools of discipline remind you, your time is not your own. Reach the threshold, and you're terminated, disposable, subordinate to the machine. The threat of unemployment forces you to sacrifice health and family. The penalty for seeking freedom is a harsh reminder, you are a wage slave. Imagine a future where the grand machine finally breaks. The clockwork society, with its intricate web of finance, logistics, and digital control, shatters into a million pieces. A cataclysm, be it economic collapse, environmental disaster, or societal revolt, brings the world to a grinding halt. In this new fractured reality, the rules of the game are violently rewritten. The wealth of the elite, their billions stored as digital phantoms on now-darkened servers, becomes worthless. Paper money burns for warmth, and credit cards are nothing but useless slivers of plastic. The grand masters of the clock, once omnipotent, find themselves stranded in a world they no longer control. In this dystopian silence, a new hierarchy emerges, one not based on inherited wealth or corporate titles, but on raw, tangible value. The stock trader, the hedge fund manager, the marketing executive, their skills are now utterly obsolete. They are ghosts of a dead world, their expertise as meaningless as the ticking clock they once worshipped. The power they wielded was always an illusion, a shared belief in a system that has now evaporated. They're left with nothing but their soft hands and their profound inability to survive in a world that demands practical knowledge. Suddenly, the master becomes the dependent. The predator becomes the prey. The elite, accustomed to a life of effortless comfort, would face an unbearable reality. The loss of electricity, running water, and global supply chains would be a shock to their pampered systems. Their luxurious penthouses become high-altitude tombs, their gated communities indefensible traps. Without the vast infrastructure of the clockwork society to serve them, they are rendered helpless. Their survival now hinges not on what they own, but on who they can control. They become utterly dependent on the very people they once exploited, the ones who possess the skills to navigate this brutal new world. The great unraveling is the ultimate inversion of power. The clock stops, and with it, the entire edifice of their control collapses. They may retreat to fortified bunkers, stocked with years of supplies, but these are merely tombs in waiting. A bunker is a finite resource, a gilded cage that cannot last forever. To truly survive, to rebuild their dominion from the ashes, they will need more than canned goods and reinforced steel. They will need people. They will need the skills of the working class they so thoroughly despised, transforming their relationship from one of exploitation to one of desperate, terrifying dependence. In the ashes of the old world, practical skill is the only currency that matters. The mechanic, the farmer, the doctor, these are the new aristocrats. The elite's wealth is useless. Only food, fuel, and skill have value now. The skilled worker, once overlooked, now holds all the cards in this fragile new world. Even in a world of ruin, the elite will cling to the phantoms of their former lives. For those accustomed to absolute comfort and luxury, the harsh realities of survival are not just a physical threat, but a psychological one. The loss of convenience would be unbearable, and so they would pay not just for survival, but for a semblance of their old normalcy. They would hire servants, cooks, and cleaners, creating a bubble of manufactured civility within their fortified walls. They would pay people to maintain their gilded cages, allowing them to avoid the manual labor they have always deemed beneath them. This desire for normalcy extends beyond mere comfort. A post-apocalyptic world would be a bleak, terrifying, and crushingly dull place. The silence would be deafening. To combat the existential dread, some elites would become modern-day patrons of the arts. They would pay musicians, storytellers, and actors to perform for them, to create a veneer of culture and entertainment in the midst of chaos. These artists would become the jesters in a new Dark Age court, their role being to distract the masters from the grim reality outside their gates and from the fragility of their own existence. In the most morally bankrupt scenarios, the elite's dependence on others takes an even darker turn. People themselves become expendable assets. In a world without laws, the wealthy could pay desperate survivors to serve as distractions or even human shields against threats. They might send out teams of scavengers on dangerous missions, knowing full well many will not return. These individuals are seen as nothing more than pawns, their lives a resource to be spent for the protection and preservation of the elite. It is the ultimate expression of their belief that their lives are inherently more valuable than others. This web of dependence reveals the ultimate hollowness of the elite's power. They are masters of a system, not masters of reality. When their system collapses, they become prisoners of their own incompetence, reliant on a population of human assets for everything from security and labor to psychological comfort and a sense of purpose. They may see themselves as the benevolent leaders of a new society, but in truth, they are simply the keepers of the supplies. They are the wardens of a gilded cage, trapped inside with the very people they need to survive, yet can never truly trust. The Grand Masters of the Clock, having perfected the 40-hour cage, now move to dismantle stability itself. The post-war dream of a secure middle-class life is being systematically demolished. Job security is eroded, replaced by short-term contracts and constant anxiety. Pensions are gutted, your future tied to a rigged market. Every policy is a calculated blow against the middle class. The middle class is not declining by accident. It is being deliberately unmade, piece by piece. The gig economy promises freedom and flexibility. Be your own boss, set your own hours, escape the 9-to-5. But this is a Trojan horse, hiding a new form of exploitation. You bear all the costs and risks, while the tech platform skims profit off every transaction. It is, quite simply, freedom in a digital cage. The economic chains are only half the machinery. To keep precarity alive, the Grandmasters forged cultural chains too, shattering solidarity and promoting the cult of the self. Now, you're told to see yourself as an isolated competitor, not part of a community. Solidarity is replaced by rivalry, leaving us divided, isolated, and easy to control. We have journeyed through history's shadowy corridors, from the factories of Ford to the ticking of the industrial clock, a system built to control, not free us. But the spell can be broken. The first act of rebellion is to question, to see the clock as a tool of enslavement, not order. We are not machines, we are human, born for connection, creativity, and joy. The spirit yearns for life beyond the tick-tock of the cage. So where do we go from here? Do we remain inmates in this clockwork society? or dare to imagine a different future. The reclamation of time begins with small, defiant acts of autonomy, choosing what we truly need, not what consumerism demands. By rebuilding solidarity and finding value in rest, we reclaim our lives from the masters of time. The question is no longer whether we can break free, but whether we will. Your time is yours. Take it back.